the online trainer, she's the course writer, she's an expert in inclusive education, she's a founder of, what's that?
TOEFL Eventsansikt.
Okay, so she's the founder of the inclusive department of TOEFL conference as well. And she'll be talking about inclusive education, which is now like very, very important, and a discussion talk in Ukraine. Welcome, Annette.
Thank you. Okay, first thing, do you all hear me? No. You got me stuck behind the thingy there. Thank you.
Is that all? That's loud. Right. Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure, actually, and it sounds like I know a lot. I hope it looks like I know a lot when I'm ending this presentation today. Right. My first picture I want to show you because an inclusive approach to teaching English. When I actually applied for the when Lena asked me, would you like to come? And I said, oh yeah, I'd love to give a workshop. She said, yeah, workshop, great. A couple of weeks later, you're going to do plenary. Oh, am I? Good. So it's not as practical as I usually do it, but I try to make it as practical as possible. You aren't going to get out of your seats. Don't even think not to. Okay, which is also just the advertising on the side. It's also the title of my book. Okay, so have a look at this picture. With the person around you, with the people next to you, a few questions. Does that class look like yours? What's different? What's similar? Quick talk with each other. What's similar? What's different?
We have the carpet and we can just line the carpet.
So you have a lot of fun.
We have one classroom, it's not mine. In the whole in primary school we have carpets.
Can I record that?
Yeah, it's okay, but
Great.
we have one English classroom without any desks, like the carpet and that's all, and you can lie, you can sit, we can move,
That's
whatever
awesome.
you want. Yeah.
I wish I had this experience at school, but we were like too still did for that. But as for me, I don't have a rug, but my class is like 1 or 2 people, and they just sit normally on either on the floor or on a sofa.
Who says this classroom looks very similar to my classroom? Can you please put your hands up?
Exactly, yeah.
Who thinks this classroom looks very similar to my classroom? Put your hands up. Good. There are some. That's fine. Who thinks this doesn't look at all anything like my classroom? That's quite a few more. Okay, this is my classroom, or one of my classrooms, because what Lena didn't say is, part of my job at the moment is I work in a primary school, which is a very normal primary school, but we have got quite nice rooms with carpet. Do you know what the kids are doing in that picture? No, they're not doing yoga.
The usual activities.
They're actually writing a text. They're copying a text, part of it, where they have to fill in parts. And the problem is, most of them, if I try to let them copy from the board, half of them don't see it. Half of them don't do it because I think it's really, really, really boring. And I said, okay, that doesn't work. I said, find a place where you like to sit, lie, whatever, and try to copy the text. And I gave actually them also copy texts so they could write them down. But I didn't have copies for everybody, so they had to share. You wouldn't believe the kids who hate writing, they were so enthusiastic. And I was like, can we go wherever we like? I said, well, not now. So I have to actually keep them at their desks sometimes. But yes, we have got the possibility to let them actually lie on the floor and do the writing. And they do appreciate it. And even the boys who really don't like writing, they all got it done. It was amazing. Anyway, so that's my classroom. and a little bit where I work. The other thing I have to say about this class, and that's kind of for all the classes I work with, they are very, very diverse. I have got refugee kids. I have got kids who are on the autism spectrum. I've got kids who are dyslexic. I've got kids who have got, are very, very introvert. I have got kids who have got social, behavioural and emotional issues, and very strongly so. And they're all in one class. You might have 5 to 6 children with really strong issues and a class of 23. That's a lot to deal with. And we don't have, like it's used in Britain, we don't have assistant teachers. We might have one assistant for a specific child because it's on the autism spectrum, for example, but not as a usual thing. So we're in the same boat. Hello, welcome to my world, and probably yours. Anyway, stand up. Oh yeah, physical, I told you. Stand up. If you, no, not now.
Okay.
I haven't posted one you have to stand up. What the reason is for standing up. Stand up if you have learners who seem to be withdrawn or daydreaming. Let's have a look round. You're not, you're not alone. Okay, you can sit down. Stand up if you've learners who are shy or introvert. There we go. Okay, you can sit down. It's a lot of exercise this morning. Shout out answers before anybody else has got a chance to think. Okay, thank you. Can't sit still for a minute. Always fiddle around with things, so get up and walk around your classroom. Where are you going again? Take the rubbish bin for what? Like this tiny piece of paper. Yes. Finish faster than the rest of the class. Yeah. Can't concentrate and stay on task for a period of time, or a longer period of time, very short attention span. Are extremely slow. Oh, we all know these. Are on the autism spectrum. So there you see, loads of you sit down. I guess quite a few might have these children but don't know, or might have learners, who are on the autism spectrum, but you might not know because it's not been diagnosed. That's an issue we have. Have been diagnosed with dyslexia, dyspraxia, ADHD, and all kinds of these things. Again, not that many, because a lot of students are not being diagnosed. So, what does it mean? All children are different. All schools are inclusive. You can't get away from it. Yeah? They say now, oh, we're going to have this big inclusive teaching. What they actually mean, we actually include now children, even more, who have got physical and cognitive disabilities or differences strongly. But we actually have been teaching these kinds of kids before already. We all teach in an inclusive environment. And I tell you what, even adults have got these issues. Okay. These are some common beliefs. And I'd like you, again, with a partner next to you, discuss what you think the answer to each of these questions is. Can you read them in the back?
The more children with learning difficulties than 30 years ago. I think the same number.
It's hard for me to suggest because I don't have the data.
Just, we don't have, but I think the same number. Because they were not diagnosed. Just in the former Soviet Union, what they say. Because they are stupid, they are slow, but we didn't know it. We didn't know about dyslexia and everything. And autism.
Like during the Soviet time, there was no feedback from below. So if you don't like something, you're going to be executed.
Yeah, and sometimes they call this like idiot. And yes, and it wasn't like the person just had other difficulties with learning or something like that.
Yeah, like you should keep up with the
Yeah.
majority of the class. If you are different, there's something wrong with you.
Learning difficulties more common among boys.
So even like 20 years ago when I was in school, I was afraid to like answer English because like for me it was like on the spot, but I couldn't answer because like everyone was like smart ass.
Or sometimes you're afraid to make a mistake because if you make a mistake, you just feel like no, not you. For me, it's yeah. And I remember that I was afraid of making mistakes actually because but now I know that human beings can make mistakes, can correct each other. It's okay.
Like tests
Okay,
are
let's
based on
see.
mistakes and tricks.
Could you please raise your hands if you think there are more children's learning difficulties than 30 years ago? If you think that's true, please raise your hands. If you think that's not true, could you please raise your hands? If you think I just don't know and can't be bothered to answer the question, can you raise your hands, please? Thank you. Actually, they are not. The issue is they were not diagnosed. Yeah, we didn't diagnose these kids. They were just part of what we had in the classroom. Oh, you know, he's a bit rough around the edges. Should you call it nicely? Okay. What about number 2? Are learning difficulties more common among boys? Yes, hands up. No, hands up. Can't be bothered, hands up. Okay, no, okay, I don't know. Hands up. Sorry. I'm cheeky. Actually, no. Again, it's more the boys you see as being difficult. Girls can hide much better. They're quiet. They're not boisterous. There are some, of course, but often it's easier seen with your boys than with girls. So we think, yes, it's more boys. Dyslexia, actually, I think is percentage, there is a little bit percentage more, but overall, we do find it in both. Can learning difficulties be inherited? Do you think yes? Hands up. If you think no, hands up. If you don't know, actually yes. A lot of them, especially dyslexia, if you've got a dyslexic child, one of the parents, grandparents has definitely had dyslexia as well. Might not have been diagnosed again. But yes, it runs in the family. Not all of them, of course. But you actually can have a whole family of autism. It's quite interesting. I was teaching an autistic boy privately, and I was invited by his parents. And I went, oh, I know where you got that from. Both of them. Highly intellectual. I don't know how they actually ever got together. Interesting people, fascinating people, but definitely both of them strongly on the autism spectrum. And the older son as well, the younger boy not. Very interesting. Never come across that actually. But yeah, next question. Can learning difficulties be cured? Who thinks yes? Who thinks no? Who thinks I don't know? They are not a disease or illness. You can't cure them. You can teach learners to work with them, to find ways around. And Ritalin is not a cure. Yeah? So kids who get Ritalin because they're so much out of their seats, they are just tamed. They're just put down. You know, okay. Don't like Ritalin, I have to say. Is dyslexia a visual problem? Who thinks yes? Okay, that's not many. Who thinks no? Majority, and some people just don't know. That's okay. It's not. It's not. Yeah? It's a connection between hand movement, physical movement, between knowing the shape and the brain. There's a connector missing. That's why physical activities are so good for dyslexic learners, where they actually handle, use their hands to learn the shapes, to learn the letters, to learn the words. Okay, and is it possible to have dyslexia only in English but not in L1 or vice versa? No, everybody says no. It might be easier in some languages. English is the worst language, or one of the worst languages to learn the spelling of. Because we've got far too many letters we actually don't need. Or we pronounce more letters than there are in the word. That's even worse, you know. So how we know how to spell that? Other languages are far clearer. You know, I have to say Czech, because I lived in the Czech Republic for 13 years and I learnt some of it. It wasn't too bad. Most of the words are just pronounced as they're written. So it's far more easy to write because you hear it, it's phonology. But English, forget about that. Okay, so the problem is try harder doesn't work. Because that's what we always say, like, oh, you must try harder. Yeah, you haven't worked hard enough to do this. You can do if you work harder. No. Sorry. Try harder just makes them feel even more incompetent and even more defeated. So, what they need: confidence building and self-esteem, learning a new language or any new skill and getting positive feedback boosts your self-esteem and boosts your confidence. We have to be positive about it and give positive moments and feedback. Self-control, something they need to learn. And it's very good. When they work in groups, they have to exercise the self-control to get actually to a goal they have got to reach as a group. Self-expression. Learners having, and actually two things together, communication, it goes together for me. Because some learners have got difficulties expressing themselves orally, but there's a whole body you can use. And I'm the person who actually, as you can see, I hate standing behind the thing because I can't move. So that's why I've got this microphone. I am physical. I need to move around. I need my hands, which is very annoying when I've got this microphone in my hand. It's just, it reduces me to something standing here, which I'm not usually. So, there are more ways than oral communication. The whole body is my communication tool. Multisensory education, go to that in a minute. The here and now. This comes from drama, actually. Actually, I've taken these, as you can see, from Susan Hilliard's book, English Through Drama. Susan has got a great approach using drama in teaching. And the here and now, the focus on what I have to do right now is so important, because it means I organise my life. When I think about all the other things I have to do after and tomorrow, etc., children who have got these issues can't handle that. They need to be in the here and now and focus on what's to be done right now. So don't give them instructions for the next 10 minutes. But you might write an agenda on the board and tick off so they know where we are in the lesson. It helps them to focus. And the mask. Role play. It's not me. I've had a friend who is he's a stutterer, who really has got struggles to get words out of his mouth. Working in a drama group, his stutter was so low because it was not him. It was a role he was playing. Yeah? So having a role does help a lot of learners. Role plays are good, therefore. Metaphor and symbols. Working with language not just on a cognitive level helps to engage and explain meaning in a different and more involving way. That's actually the idea, to work with metaphors and symbols in class. And the last one, the fear of exposure and contact. We need to create a supportive and positive atmosphere, an inclusive, integrative atmosphere. That's important. So, going back to actually a talk by Judith Cormers I saw. What does it mean for a teaching? We need to recognise the difference in the individual learners. And by the way, you don't grow out of being dyslexic. You stay dyslexic for the rest of your life. So it's not anything to do just with young learners. We're talking about adults that have ADHD. They might have learned to cope with a lot of things, but it's for all of us. We need to understand the reason. Going to look at that in a minute. We need to look at different learning strategies. There's a variety of learning strategies. They are the steps the learners have to take to enhance their own learning. We have to help them on their way to find a way how learning works best for them. Accommodate all kinds of learners, different abilities, skills, learning preferences. Don't only look at the weakest learner, and that's very important. We do have some very, very strong learners. We have got some learners who are actually at the top level, and we often forget about them because we always look at the kids who are troublesome, who can't cope. But if we don't look at the learners who are at the top edge, they become troublesome because they're going to be bored. So all kids need, or all learners to be accommodated. Okay. So, and differentiate. That's what we all do anyway, already. I think most of us do that anyway. Applying multisensory techniques, and then we have got a roulada. Yeah, roll it all together, we've got a roulada. And this is a term I got from Judith Cormers. I saw a few weeks ago at Leuphana University in Lüneburg doing a talk about it, and I thought, this is just great, I'll steal it from her. But I give her the credits because she told me. So, anyway, these are issues because it's that like, we need to look at the reasons behind. Short-term memory is affected in use. Short-term memory is affected, of course. Speed of processing is slowed down. It takes them far longer to think through. Executive functions, the ability to plan, analyze, organize, and complete tasks. Phonological processing, reading failure dyslexia stems from a functional structure deficit in the left hemisphere of the brain, associated with a process of sounds of language. Sounds great, doesn't it? And now imagine you hear English. As I said, it's not spelled the way as it's pronounced. You try to make a connection, and you have got difficulties to make a connection between the sound of the language and the way it's written in the first place. Then having a language like English, it just kills you. So we need to look at that. These are difficulties these learners have. Plus visual memory, which means they might have seen a word, but they won't be able to remember it. Yeah, they need to see, they need to feel, they need to touch, they need to write, they need to do it again and again and again, till actually it goes into their memory. They need far longer and far more exposure. And motor coordination. I was kind of shocked when I saw some of our first graders coming this year, and some of them don't even know properly how to hold their pens. But no, you do like this. Like, I mean, you're 6, you should have learned by now. No, still holding it this way, so you're still trying. They can't cut on a straight line. And I know when I went to school, that was one of the criteria. Being able to cut a straight line, being able to hold a pencil. I was tested on that. I remember. That's really strange. Yeah, I was 5. But it's something that's just like, I hate tests. That's why I remember probably. Anyway, kids, some of these kids still can't do it. So we actually have to start far earlier and work with that. So, Now, we tend to look at the weaknesses. But every learner comes to class with strength. And that's what we need to find out. I've got kids who can draw amazingly, who can tell stories. You're blown away by the way what they do. But they are the weakest learners. I've got actually kids in my class who the other teachers say, oh God, useless. Oh, excuse me? Can't say useless. I never gets anything. Whatever I do, never gets anything. They come to English class and one of them is nearly bilingual. She shines. She's there. She's like, I can do something. I said, where did you learn that? I said, I just love the language. She's 9 and she's fluent. I can have normal conversation with annoys everybody else in the class because she was like, oh, Miss Eagle, by the way, and everybody like, what did you say? What did you say? Yeah, I was like, oh, can you just translate that now back to everybody else? Thank you. But she's actually, she's very, because she found something she loves doing. So she can't write it. She can't read it properly, but she can speak it. Yeah, she's an oral learner. It's amazing. So every child, every learner has got some kind of thing. We need to find those, very important. Multisensory. Oh, that's a long text. Can you read that? Yeah?
So long.
There's no point putting something on the slide when I have to read it. The point is, apart from what we usually use in class, yeah, the few skills, try to get smell into your class, try to get taste, flavour into your class, physical movement, that's multisensory, all senses. Okay, ready? Go on, good. And that's a quote everybody has heard of, has read before. And that's very important to remember. We might have to adjust our teaching, how we approach. And I liked what was said by one of the kids in the video at the beginning. A teacher pays attention to each student in the class. Remember that. This boy was saying that about the classes at IHK. You know, what does a teacher in the 21st century? He pays attention to each student in the class. I know we don't have 10 kids, but we might have 30 in a class. So let's get physical. That's me. But how? There are 30 students in my class. I fixed chairs, fixed tables, can't move. There are too many bags, too many kids. It's too loud, it's too noisy. Other teachers might complain. Oh, well, I think there are ways around that. So, what is, can't read that, it's red. Combine the, oh yes, vocabulary. So we get physical. I just put this away now because I can't use that and get physical. You have, can you turn this off? Now you have to hear me even when I speak without a microphone. So, and I think that's possible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. A dog. Everybody, a dog.
A dog.
A dog. A dog, dog, dog. Okay, that's the audio input. How can I make a dog? Well, that's for me a rabbit, actually. Sorry, that's a rabbit. That's not a dog. How would you do a dog? Okay, everybody. Dog. Dog. The dog. A dog. Dog. Okay. A cat. A cat. A cat. A cat. So, a rabbit. Yeah, make me look like an idiot. Thank you. I don't care, actually. That's what my students say, like, oh, Miss Ing, what are you doing there? Oh, don't worry. Okay, combine the word with a movement. Because
the movement helps the memory, short-term memory. And if you've got, they actually do remember the movement first, probably, but the word comes. And this is like, what was this?
A cat.
Yeah?
A dog.
Everybody knows that, isn't it? Yeah, I've all seen these dogs. Okay, so, part 1. Acted out isolated. Okay, you need to stand up for that. I'm too small, aren't I? That's very bad. Okay, a tree. The branch. The bird. Tweet, tweet. Tweet, tweet. Tweet, tweet. The dog. It's near the tree. It's okay. Okay, once more. This is the tree. Branch. The bird. The dog. Good. Okay. Next part, we're going to stand. Don't even get. No, don't even think about sitting down. I said, get out of your seats today.
Annette, we couldn't hear you now. We cannot even see you.
Okay, what am I going to do? I don't think the tables are strong enough to hold me.
Get the chair.
They should be okay. Do you think I can stand on the table? Of course.
Yes.
Right. I get out of my picture. Right. Okay. What was that? Tree. Branch. Bird. Dog. Okay. Now we got it. Right. Contextualized. There was a tree. There was a tree. With a big branch. On the branch was a bird. Tweet, tweet. Tweet, tweet, tweet. And then came a dog. And weed on the tree. Okay, so I have a whole sentence starring. Can I get this quicker? Otherwise I'm lost. Sorry, I haven't done that. That's the first time I do this. Okay, now, you're going to work in your small groups, pairs, amongst each other. I need some... Lena, volunteer. Lena. Okay, Lena is...
Are you going to be on me?
I'm going to be on you. Okay. So, Lena, I'm going to act out something like, what am I doing? Can you see that? I'm brushing my teeth. Okay, so, wait. You have to ask me, Annette, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
I'm riding my bike. It's not true, is it? No, but she has to do that now. Okay, then I ask, oh, Lena, what are you doing there?
I'm doing my homework. What are you doing?
I'm going to play football.
Going to?
I'm going playing football. I'm playing football. I can't think. Brain's gone. I'm playing football. Good. Okay, now in your pairs, quick round. Let you know what you're doing. I'm not so No, I'm going to stay here.
This.
Yeah.
Better, this.
There? You think there?
No, stay there. Yeah, you fight it?
Oh, there is. There was. Oh, good. Thank you. Okay, stop. I've got 20 more minutes, don't worry. We're not at the end, we've got 20 more minutes. minutes. You have to get through more physical activity. Sorry.
Before lunch.
Before lunch, yeah, you've got to get some exercise. So we can eat afterwards, don't go to the same. Okay, right, writing and spelling. So we know this. Yeah. No. Hands together. We need to. We spell my name because I'm so deaf. Everybody down. A. I think I should do it this way, then you can see which way, don't you? Yeah? Just realise, otherwise you've got to do it. Yeah, right. Okay, next one. And. Got it?
Yeah.
E. Eat. Okay. T. Zip. T. Zip. Oh, by the way. And E. Good. Yeah? Not just his little finger, but the whole body. It's far more fun, especially when you work with kids. With adults, I might just use a finger. Okay, but we need the finger now and your hand. Right on your hand, because this is the whole movement. Yeah, I move the whole body with a letter, but now I can feel the letter. So write an A slowly on my hand. And it's really this tactile idea. Write your name on your hand. You can do the short form if you've got a very long name. Yeah, do that. Everybody, I watch you. See you. No, just for yourself. For yourself. Don't touch anybody now. Okay, but now you can do it now. Find somebody, and you can either, and that some people are so ticklish. When you try to write on their backs, they scream. It doesn't work. But the back of your hand or the palm does work as well. So can you write a word for your partner and she has to guess which one it is? But on the hand or the back of your hand. Oh, yeah, if you're ticklish, yeah, good. It's okay. Okay, let's try. The first one. Okay. You may sit down now. Okay, you can sit down now. Security just told me to get off the table. Body alphabet. And this is actually quite good when I'm down here now. Thank you for being a volunteer. Okay, so body alphabet. We're trying to make an M. M. A. Okay, one hand. One hand. A. That looks so odd. It's not very, flutterous. Okay, so can you, with a partner next to you, make a letter? You can choose one. Actually, do a K. Not about choose one. Do a K. Think about how would you make a K? How would you make a K?
Right, you can sit down. Can I have a couple of volunteers showing me that K? I saw very funny ones here in the front. You want to do the K? Okay, there's a K over there. Can you come a little bit to the front so we can see you? Because now you're hiding behind that. That's not fair. How would you make a K?
I have to bend over.
Oh. Good. Any other versions of a K? I saw some different versions. There was one here with a double K. You did it. You had this double K. Or was it you? I don't know. Another version. Great, thank you. So that's the point. You can be so creative. The K doesn't have to look exactly the same way for each pair, group. But you can change it. As long as you know, you get the idea. And then the others can guess which letter it is. No, it's not a Y, it's a K. Thank you. Great. I love poetry. And I love picture books. Lena knows that. I'm addicted to the picture books. And The Smartest Giant in Town is one of my favourite, which I actually use to teach clothes, partly. That's one idea, because it's always a good lead into talking about clothes, because the smartest giant, you know, he starts off very scruffy and doesn't look really nice, and then he buys his absolutely fabulous, nice clothes, a smart shirt, a smart stripy tie, smart shiny shoes, smart belt, smart trousers, smart belt, yes, trousers, and smart socks with diamonds on the side. That's it. And then of course he gives them all away because everybody needs something of him. And the poem actually evolves throughout the book. It gets more and more. And the idea is here, at the end, all the animals who got something from the giant write him a thank you letter, which says, you gave your scarf to a colt giraffe, your shirts on a boat as a sail for a goat, your shoes a house for a little white mouse, one of your socks is a bat for a fox, your belt held a dog who was crossing a bog. So here is a very fine crown to go with the sandals and gown of the kindest giant in town. So he's not the smartest at the end, but he's the kindest giant in town. Okay. So now I have to do that somehow with holding everything.
I can hold it for you.
I'll just try it there. I turn that microphone. I have to read, I have to think, and I have to speak. That's a lot to do for me. Especially to think. That's how do you do the bottom? Where?
Right button.
Right button down. That's me. That's a word. Okay. Now, you follow what I do. You gave your scarf to a cold giraffe. Your shirt is on a boat as a sail for a goat. Your shoe is a house for a little white mouse. One of your socks is a bat for a fox. Your belt held the door, remember that? Who was crossing a bog. Yeah? Bog, swamp. For the ones who don't know bog, it's an odd word, it's a swamp. Moor, swamp. Yeah, that's a bog. Okay. So here is a vest, here is a very fine crown to go with the sandals and the gown of the kindest giant in town. Okay, well, it's a town. I tell you what, the kids who were doing this poem last year with me, when I say something like, what was it? Oh, here you go. It's like, oh, it's like, you know, the story. Oh, what's the matter? I only have to say, what's the matter? Because that's what the giant always asks, what's the matter? And they start, your tie or your scarf, actually it's a tie which becomes the scarf for the giraffe. He ties a scarf or a colt giraffe, da 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 da. And they all start saying this poem. So like, no, that's not the topic today, thank you. But they do remember, and they do make all these gestures as well. Okay, now I've lost my plot again. I'm not walking around. Oh yeah, we're getting to the end. I've got 10 minutes left. Is that correct? Good. Just in time. Instructions. Okay, do the opposite. Listen to what. Okay, we've done something similar. Though, actually, this is quite interesting because I'm going to give you instructions. Like, do this, do that. But you're not doing that. You're doing exactly the opposite. So when I say sit down, sit down. Stand up. Good. Ah, yeah, that's the idea. Okay. Now, I say stand on 2 legs. See if your neighbour does exactly the same thing as you do. Some are sitting, smart asses. Because I don't have to stand. Some are standing on 1 leg. Yeah? And that's where you actually have got really this listen and do and watch. Do we all interpret the same way what I'm saying? And that's the fun part about it, because there are more ways than one. Okay. But because I only have got 5 minutes, I know there are a couple of people who've done that with me. So Gay remembers that, probably from Bristol.
I do.
You do. Lena loves that, I know. But I'm going to do it this time slightly different. A pizza massage. Glenn, you like that, don't you? Yes, you love it. It's one of my, how do you call this when you bake a cake? You're on the British break off this my signature cake. This is my signature activity, the massage. Okay. If you do feel comfortable, really comfortable with the person next to you, you can massage each other on your legs. If you think, I don't know you, I don't know if you want to be touched by you, by the way, I don't wear a very comfortable bra today, so I don't not really know you. That's absolutely fine, because in your classes there are learners who don't like to be touched. How do you do a massage with somebody who doesn't want to be touched? Very difficult. Haha, self-massage. Not stupid. Okay, I go behind this now because then I've got this thingy, and you can you all see me? Yeah. If you can't see me, you have to sit somewhere else, or you're going to lose out. Problem. You need your 2 hands. And you need your face and your hat. Sorry for the makeup. There's going to be coffee break. You can actually, freshen up later. Okay, so what do you need to do first when you want to bake a pizza? What do you need first? You need a dough. Okay, so we need to knead the dough. Yeah, properly knead your dough. Yeah, it's good for you, by the way. It's a good wake-up call as well. Okay, when I've kneaded the dough, what am I going to do with it? Okay, I leave that for a bit.
Yes, sir.
But then I need to roll it out. I don't have a rolling pin, so I just do it with my hands. I stretch it out. Like, when you go to the pizza place, I can't do that. Love watching them. Okay, and then what comes first? We're going to see the proper pizza bakers. Tomato sauce. Okay. Everywhere, nicely on your face, because it's a great pizza. Good. Who's vegetarian? Sorry, not your pizza. You think about something vegetarian now. We're going to put some salami on it. Yep. Nicely everywhere. What else do we put on it? What? Mushrooms. Some mushrooms. Not everybody likes mushrooms. Choose something else if you don't like it. Okay. And now, of course, we sprinkle some. No, actually, oregano. nicely with your fingertips. And then the cheese. Lots of cheese. We like lots of cheese. Okay, and now we have to bake it. Rub your hands really, really strongly together. And bake your face. Okay, once more. It needs to be done properly. We don't like soggy pizza. We want to have a nicely baked pizza. I don't have to see that, do I? Okay. Right, now it's already baked. We need to cut it. Cut it. And eat it. Sounds a bit odd, yeah, but we should eat it somehow. That's the honest part actually about these pizza baking your face. Then we need to clean it. Sorry about the makeup. That's why I don't wear any. And after we've cleaned it, we have to dry it again. That was yummy, wasn't it? Sorry, it's still time to lunch, so it's not going really well. Fine, gosh. Oh, I'm fast. Okay, good. So, I like this quote. For the ones who've got difficulty with reading, there is only one way to look at things until someone shows us how to look at them with different eyes. And that's the same about teaching. There's not only one way how to teach. There are 1,000 ways. Not all very different from each other. But there are little tiny bits we can change to accommodate and to help all our learners. And I think that's a very, very important thing to remember. And that's a book, by the way. Okay. If you want to get in touch, I'm happy to answer questions. As Lena said, I'm one of the founding members of the Sensing of TOEFL. So we do a lot of things. We actually have got a new mentoring scheme. So if you need help, if you've got questions, please get in touch with us. I do have cards, I do have business cards from that. I don't have any for myself. But of that I do have. So if anybody wants to have anything of that, please let me know. I will be standing somewhere there, next to the yellow books. Okay, and thank you very much for participating.
Thank you very much. If you're interested in the next book, she's staying not next to Macmillan Publishers, yes? So she'll be staying there all day. You can talk about more questions. Okay, just want to